Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit more shorter-term technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, guys, because as you can see here, over the last 24 hours or so, something rather significant has happened here on Bitcoin. Bitcoin has fallen out of its rising wedge quite substantially. Bitcoin was trading around $13,000, and last night we fell all the way down to 11.2. We fell down to a very important level of support, and while this does look like it's going to be kind of bad, it's actually not that bad. We're only back to where we were a few days ago, but I do want to go ahead and discuss with you guys why this happened, what technical indicators predicted it, what this means for Bitcoin, whether the rally is over or just still on hiatus. I want to discuss all of that and more in today's video, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get right on into it. If you do enjoy today's video, make sure you smash that like button, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, guys. We do cryptocurrency technical analysis videos every single day, and I wouldn't want you to miss any of them. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Guys, I want to get the elephant out of the room right here, first and foremost, at the beginning of the video. In yesterday's video, I made a couple of mistakes. I'm going to talk about exactly what those are. One of them is I missed a very important technical indicator, and the second one is, guys, I didn't listen to my gut. And if you guys are in the course, you will know that gut feeling is a very important part of your technical analysis, especially as you get to the point of becoming an expert technical analyst, and I did not listen to my gut as much as I should have, because if I had have, I would have been more bearish. The technicals, at least the ones that I saw, I missed one of them, which I will be discussing here in a second. That's another mistake I made. I was listening too much to the technicals and not enough to my own experience and to my own gut, because my gut was pointing me to the downside. It was pointing bearish, but I didn't listen to it. I instead predicted bullishness because that's what the technical indicator said. To be clear, I predicted about 55% chance of breaking bullish and a 45% chance of breaking bearish like this, because even without my gut, I gave it a pretty high probability that we would see something like this. But I did mistake. I did make a mistake with you guys by not giving more credence to my gut. The other mistake that I made was that I didn't see this. And guys, to be fair, I am on vacation and I'm not spending quite as much time on the videos every morning as I do normally. I do apologize for that, guys, but I've been making videos every single day for 2 years. I think you will understand. But one thing that I did miss here is that we had an uptrending tops here. We had a top right here on Bitcoin and a higher top right here. And then we had a higher top here on the RSI and a lower top. That's pretty obvious classical RSI divergence, and it's something that I didn't notice in yesterday's video because I was ready to go hike another mountain. We went to Mount Pisgah yesterday. We were 10,000 feet above sea level. And if we had seen that, I definitely would have been more bearish yesterday. And it turns out that that was actually the predicting factor that saw Bitcoin break to the downside here. Technical analysis is very, very much driven by just a couple of different technical indicators, and some of them are very strong. RSI and RSI divergence that you can get from the chart is a very, very important part of technical analysis. And guys, I do want to point out that it's not like I don't know this stuff. We have videos on RSI and RSI divergence and gut feeling where I go over everything that I just said. I think I just need to take my own lessons sometimes. It's going to happen, guys. I make mistakes. You make mistakes. Like I said, I've made a mistake. I want to show you guys how I made that mistake so that you guys can learn from it. Hopefully, you guys won't make the same mistake, and hopefully I won't in the future as well. A man takes responsibility for his mistakes, and you can learn from them. It's not just bad when you make a mistake. That's when you're able to actually grow as a person, as an analyst, as anything, is when you make a mistake, when you own up to it, and when you try to be better for the future. So moving on here, guys, now that we've gotten that out of the way, I do want to go ahead and dive into the rest of the analysis. First and foremost, I want to look at what's gone on here now that Bitcoin has crashed. I showed you the technical analysis that would have predicted this crash. This bearish RSI divergence right here, that was a pretty big one. But I also want to talk about what Bitcoin is doing now and what the indicators are saying at this point. Bitcoin has, of course, fallen through the floor a little bit. I mean, some people are going to argue with me on the term crash. Guys, Bitcoin has fallen about 15% actually in the last 24 hours or so. I would consider that a crash, considering it took less than a day for that to happen. But even in such, guys, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. In the light of learning from our mistakes, we do actually see that there is some RSI divergence. In this case, it's bullish. As you can see here on the hourly chart, we have a low here and a lower low here on the chart, but we also have a low on the RSI here and a higher low right here. As you guys have seen recently, RSI divergence is a very powerful technical indicator, and it's almost always right. Technical analysis very rarely ignores RSI divergence. It almost always comes to pass when you see it. It's very rare that it's not actually a good predictor of price action. And we do see that there's some bullish RSI divergence here on the hourly chart. Now keep in mind, this is the hourly chart. This is a rather short-term chart for what we're looking at, but we also see that the MACD has started to converge on itself while Bitcoin was crashing. I find that really interesting because the MACD lines were coming down here, but they also started to converge on themselves because Bitcoin was falling fastest at the beginning and then started to slow down a little bit as it got closer to the bottom. And because of that, the MACD started to converge on itself and has been for the last 16 hours or so. And we have actually had a bullish cross on MACD now that Bitcoin has found its level of support. We'll be discussing about the support that Bitcoin found here in just a minute. But the reason I mentioned that the hourly chart is quite short-term analysis for what we're looking at here, guys, is because if we look out to the longer-term stuff, we see if there's actually a bearish cross already on the 4-hourly chart, as you would expect, but this is still diverging bearish. The MACD and the signal line are still getting further apart. We need to see this at least start converging on itself before we can have any confidence that Bitcoin has gotten support at this level of support. Like I said, we'll discuss that support here in just a second. But also out here on the daily chart, Bitcoin has actually rejected, and we no longer have that bullish cross on the MACD. That's all I really want to show you on the oscillators. Not a whole lot there that I find all that interesting. But what I do find interesting is this downtrend on the price action right here with Bitcoin's symmetrical triangle pattern. If we had a predicted bearishness in yesterday's video, this is the level of support that I would have been looking at after this uptrend right here. Both of these are important levels. Bitcoin did not get support here, but Bitcoin had a little bit more bearishness in the tank. And we did come down here and actually test this level. That is actually the neckline of that inverse head and shoulders patterns we've been looking at here, the one right here, and Bitcoin did break bullish from that, but eventually the inverse head and shoulders patterns aren't going to be as important as you thought they were, and Bitcoin has come down here and managed to get a little bit of support, at least for the time being. So guys, what happens from here is a very interesting question. Bitcoin could either bounce here and use some of this shorter-term bullishness that we see on the hourly chart, like this bullishness from the MACD on the hourly chart, the bullishness from the rising stochastic RSI and RSI to push Bitcoin even higher and start a more of a shorter-term uptrend that shows up on the longer-term charts and then kicks those technical indicators I just showed you into bullishness territory as well. We could see something like that, but there's also a chance, guys, that we see those bearish technical indicators on the 4-hourly and the daily chart, ideally, not ideally, but namely those the MACD out on those time frames, push Bitcoin below this level of support. If Bitcoin gets pushed below this level of support, guys, we're probably going to $10,000. And if we do that, I hope that we don't go below this level of support. Because even though this looks bad, it's really not actually that big of a deal. And the reason for that is because Bitcoin is actually still in an uptrend. We were talking about how Bitcoin needed to get into an uptrend for this rally to resume. Bitcoin is still in one because we haven't set a lower low. As we can see, we have a higher high and we have a higher low still. So even though this looks a little wonky, Bitcoin is still technically in an uptrend. So there is still room for this to move to the upside. Although now that we've seen some bearish price action again, quite a bit more than a lot of people were expecting. Now that we've seen that, we have to keep in mind that the bears do have a little bit more strength than maybe we were giving them credit for, and we need to keep in mind that there is a larger chance that we do go below this level of support. I think this downtrend of support is something we need to look at, but for right now, Bitcoin is still safe. The bears aren't out of the woods yet, as it were. But anyway, guys, you know that we're running the sale on the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. I made a couple of mistakes in yesterday's video, and I want you guys to understand that you can learn a whole lot from making mistakes, but sometimes mistakes can also be very expensive. People can lose thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars making mistakes. It's a very, very bad thing to do if you have a lot of money on the line. If you don't have a lot of money on the line, it's great. You learn from it. It's not a big deal. But if you're trading these markets and you make a mistake, you can lose a lot of money. So it's better that you learn the lessons the easy way by having it delivered to you in a curriculum like this from someone who does know what they're talking about, than having to go out and trade and make mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake to learn the concepts here in this course. We have our introductory stuff if you're new to cryptocurrency technical analysis. We have videos on all the different technical indicators we discuss here in the course, and we also have a lot of technical analysis videos. A couple of these that I will be rewatching myself because clearly I don't realize them is the gut feeling video down here. If I had have listened to mine a little bit better, we probably would have made a bit of a different call in yesterday's video. And also RSI divergence, something you always want to be looking out for. Normally I do. I forgot to check for it yesterday, and if I had have checked for it, it would have made the difference in yesterday's video. Both of those videos are very important, and both of those videos would have helped you to make this call if you had a trained gut like I do, and if you were looking for that RSI divergence, you would have been able to predict this downtrend. Unfortunately, I made the mistake. That's okay though, guys. Like I said, you got to own up to it. Anyway, guys, that is pretty much going to do it for today's video. If you're interested in CT2A, if you're interested in learning about how the cryptocurrency markets work, we have nearly 700 people in the course. We're probably going to be passing that number today because a lot of you guys are joining. I mean, everybody who goes through the course, guys, tells me that it helps their trading so much. It's not just, I'm not selling you snake oil. There have been hundreds and hundreds of people that have gone through the course, and they all tell me good things about the course. They say that they're better traders now, that they're able to read the markets better. I mean, when you buy the course and you look through the comment section on some of these videos, it's crazy. Let me just go to one real quick. This is what I'm talking about. I just kind of picked a random video, how to plan and execute profitable trades. Great video, Jeb. Thank you. You've learned a lot. Great lessons here, Jeb. Hey, Jeb, I know you're doing well on your road trip. I was on a road trip when you said that. Jeb, thank you for the course. Blah, 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 blah. Great video. Thanks for this. A lot of people are very happy with the course. Great video, Jeb. This is stuff that's in the CT2A. These are real people. These are real people who joined the course and who are making money in the cryptocurrency markets because now they learned how to actually use them. Anyway, guys, that is pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. Like I said, there's that $40 off coupon code down below if you want to join. But I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.